What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back for yet another episode of Under the Radar for you guys. There were 3 other albums that came out on Friday the 13th that I didn't get to cover on here yet until now. So without further ado, let's get started with the first of those 3 albums, Blasphematory, with their album The Lower Catacombs. So yeah, this is a new death metal band that formed not too long ago, I believe 2016, out of New Jersey, and this is their second full-length studio album. And basically, as I was listening through all this, be prepared for a lot of murk and filth and disgust when it comes to the sound. It's really raw, it's almost as lo-fi as you can get, but still sounding audible here in 2022. Like, I was going through their Metal Archives page, trying to get some information about them, going to their similar artists section, and I have to say, this album and this band kind of harkens a little bit of like the early Finnish death metal scene, like Demigod and Abhorrence and Ripakoliu, among many others out of that early Finnish death metal scene where they just had that gross grind to them. This album kind of mirrors a lot of tropes from the early Finnish death metal scene. Like, there's a lot of bouncy grooves going on here, but even a little hint of doom, and then they can get really fast with blast beats and riffs galore over this album. And even the vocals, just downright gross whenever you listen to a lot of this. So those are some positives. Like, it has a raw character to it, which is really cool, and the vocals are just way low in the register. However, my main problem I guess I really had with this album is some of the songs did kind of start to sound the same, and they kind of blended together. Then again, it flows very well. It's like all the songs were almost connected together to feel like one long song. But there was a lot of like samey riffs here and there and similar ideas they were trying to go for within song structuring and such. But overall, this was still a solid release for them. I give this one an 8 out of 10. For my first time checking out this band, wasn't bad. It was actually good. This was a good album. If you're into that raw, grimy, gross-sounding early Finnish death metal, this one will be right up your alley. For me, I'm kind of in between. It was a good album, but there was just some ideas going on this album that felt kind of samey. But of course, that's just my opinion and how I heard it. For the next album we're going to check out, we are checking out Demiricous with their album Chaotic Lethal. Of course, I heard about this band courtesy of Thralls of Metal. I saw they did a review for this and gave it pretty high praise. So I thought, you know what? If they like it, this might be something up my alley. And going through their Metal Archives, they are described as a death thrash band, but for me this is more thrash with moments of death metal and groove metal especially kind of plastered in here, because this is some very furious, feral thrash that has some blast beats, some nice mid-tempo grooves. This is almost like Slayer on steroids. There are a lot of Slayer-esque riffs and grooves, and even some of the leads on here kind of mirror that Slayer vibe where they're just all about chaos rather than technical proficiency or feeling. And also, like, the vocal delivery on here, it's almost like in that hardcore range. Like, it sits in between like thrash vocals and death metal vocals. They're not kind of leaning towards one style or the other, the vocalist that is. And lyrically, it is really pissed off. Like, this almost feels kind of in line with some of the groove metal bands at the time, like Exhorder and Pantera and Machine Head. Like, it kind of has that more of that, like, fuck you vibe to the lyrical content. And even in showcasing that through some of the vocal delivery on here, where he's just punching you in the face verbally with his vocal delivery and cadence. Though, like I said, the riffs on here are very crunchy, very chunky as well, but have a lot of energy to them, similar to Slayer. So overall, this album, this was a really good one. I actually really enjoyed this one. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. This was fun, no questions asked. I mean, it's chaotic, it's brutal, it's honest. All the adjectives I can think of are right there and then. So yeah, really enjoyed this one, 8.5 out of 10. But now we get into the final album for this episode, and that is Visions of Atlantis with Pirates. First time checking out this symphonic power metal band that, when looking up their Metal Archives page, definitely got compared a lot to bands like Nightwish, and I guess it's because you have the male and female vocal dynamics going on here. I guess that, honestly, that's where I honestly think like the comparisons between the two bands stop, because musically, this is more over the top, it's more fun, honestly. Like, this almost feels like what would happen if you mixed Rhapsody of Fire, Sabaton, and like late 80s Halloween, mixed it all together into one package, and you get Visions of Atlantis, musically speaking. Even also, despite them being considered symphonic power metal, on this album, there was a lot of folk on here, and I feel like that's where I kind of get a little bit of the Rhapsody of Fire comparisons, because especially on recent Rhapsody of Fire albums, they get really folky on certain parts of some songs. Here, the folk elements were beautiful, almost feeling like a bard is coming in to sing you some tales and such. But the epic quality of those symphonic elements plastered on top of the over-the-top power metal that this brought, well executed, it was fun. And I even loved the vocals, like both the female vocalist and the male vocalist do an amazing job. The speed, it does get pretty fast quite a bit, but sometimes they slow things down a little bit to diversify the tempo and not really just be all about, hey, we're a power metal band, we're going to go blazing fast all the time. No, they managed to slow some sections down to give some breathing room, musically that is. So overall, this one was probably my favorite out of the three that we checked out this week. I give this one an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this, and while I'm not the biggest fan of power metal, I do enjoy power metal. This, while yeah, it's more of that cleaner symphonic side of power metal, I really, really liked it because it just brings out some cool licks on the guitar, some cool vocal patterns, and those folky elements that you get from time to time on here definitely help bring in that influence on top of what they're already doing. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. And that does it for this episode of Under the Radar. What did you guys think? If you guys have heard of any of these three albums, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And until next time, horns high. See you soon.
I'm very mad right now. You're kidding me. You are kidding me.
Nah.
He was kidding me. Bruh.
No, I'm not.
No.
I win.
Are you kidding me? No.
I had 4.
I was 1 card away.
No,
1 card.
clutch.
No, dude. Unbelievable. I had 3 7s and a wild card, as well as 3 8s, 2 9s. I was there, dude. No.
So, yeah, it is what it is. But anyways, I whooped his ass.
Boo! Trash game!